All right, so we're going to just take a quick question from the question block. So the question block is a bi-weekly segment that shows up on this podcast. It's inspired by some really cool ideas from some friends over at 1UP. And basically, you send us a question, and if it's good enough, we try to answer it. So this one is multiple questions. I just want to boil down to the essential questions he's asking. And by the way, if you email us and send a question, don't send a barrage. Don't send like 5 in a row that lead up to a big one. Just get to the point. The shorter, the better, and the more thoughtful, the better, too. Because sometimes it's just like purchasing advice or things like that. And I don't know, I kind of
should I buy Monster on
that? You could just read IGN to find out that. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You could.
Keep it locked.
All right, so this question comes from George Tarrant. And George says, okay, so with the advent of E3 and word that the next Zelda game would basically be revealed at E3, I have a few questions. First, do you think we'll see actual game footage? I'm just going to answer them as I go. Yes. Do you think we will get a release date? No. Do you guys disagree?
They never announce a release date right away.
Yeah.
They always, give you a time period.
Okay. So, no, I thought you had more to say.
No.
Do you think that if there is no release date, Nintendo will counter all the negativity by announcing a Zelda HD remake, which leads to my real question of the week. Again, don't do that again, George, I swear. Out of all Zelda games, 2D
out of the river.
Exactly.
Not welcome.
Out of all the Zelda games, 2D or 3D, which would you like to see remade for Wii U, and which would retain the original design or bring one of the 2D back, etc.? Like, what either 2D or 3D Zelda would you like to see remade?
For the Wii U?
Yes.
Okay. 2D or 3D Zelda
I'm ready.
For the Wii U. Go ahead.
Link's Awakening.
Boom. Why?
For the original Game Boy and then the Game Boy Color, I want to see it remade as a 3D game. But not a 3D game like Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or something like that. But
Link Between Worlds?
Sort of like Link Between Worlds. Like keep it that big, but put it on a console so I can play it on a giant television. Because I love that game, and it's still beautiful to go back and play. But it's held back by a lot of things. Like the original Game Boy only had 2 buttons, so switching items on that game, which you have to do constantly in a Zelda game,
to do it a lot.
means going to a menu and pulling something back on. Link's Awakening is my favorite video game of all time, and it's far and away my favorite Zelda game. So bring it back.
That'd be cool. But, I mean, we just got Wind Waker. We got an Ocarina remake. We got a Link to the Past kind of quasi-remake. Yep. And so for me, the next one to go to would definitely be Majora's Mask. Right? I kind of, in my mind, I know it's going to be on 3DS.
That's happening already.
But if you put it on Wii U, and it could look so amazing. I mean, that game, like, art style-wise, could be so freaky and dark and cool. I'd love that. And then the one after that I'd go to would be Zelda 2, because you would essentially get a completely new game.
Yeah.
You'd get something with that music. The music was awesome in that game, right?
Yeah.
Like, with actual, like, experience points that build up, that'd be really cool to see that in a Zelda game, so I'd love that too.
Yeah.
By the way, that's not actually happening. I just threw that out there because it's been a rumor forever that Majora's Mask is happening. So please don't take that
sites
literally.
just wrote up news stories.
Is none of the above a valid answer? Can
Really?
we just
Yeah.
get a new Zelda game already?
Yeah, that's a totally
go
valid
with it.
answer.
Fine. That's
of
what you
course.
want. Just the new Zelda.
I don't want to go back and play those anymore. Every time
Okay.
you go back and play another game, it's not quite exactly what you remember. At least for me, something that I really love is not what I remember.
Because you're
and I
like
don't
40
want-
years older.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your hands are bigger.
A new one, and they're arthritic. And
Well, I would. I think I'm gonna, and I'm kind of stealing Colin's answer on this maybe a little, but I think I'd really like to see Zelda 2 remade. I feel like Zelda 2 was the most polarizing of all the Zeldas, right? Because they went more action RPG than they did just action adventure.
I
as we
love
like
Zelda
to talk
2.
about a lot.
I love Zelda 2.
And I feel like that. I don't know if you necessarily keep the perspective the same. Yeah, it didn't have
I
that
like
great
that music.
I
It
love the
had
music.
cool music, but it didn't have a lot of music. It had, but then again, it's the 8-bit era where you
Yeah.
didn't need like an entire soundtrack was maybe 3 songs.
The game was
versus,
hard
like,
as hell. That's the best part about that game.
And
is
it
that
has
it's-
error.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just because
It's better than Majora's Mask garbage.
Hey, you know
knew that
what?
was
That's
coming.
gonna get you kicked off this
All the best
podcast,
graphics in
man.
the world can't stop the fact that
Dude,
most of
Majora's
Majora's
Mask
Mask
is
is playing the
amazing.
same crap over and over and over again.
That's
Oh
the
my
point. It's
God.
Groundhog
Oh,
Day.
it's the point.
Whatever.
May-
It's
may
good.
a moon fall on
Your
your
Groundhog's
head.
Day talking about this game. being
Whatever.
good. It's not.
Ignore him, Jose.
That's fine.
Anyway, I think Zelda 2, it's time. So maybe that's something to think about. I don't know if you keep the perspective or you just do it completely different and original, but that is what that
You
is.
got to keep the perspective.
No way. Different game.
Really?
Yeah, remake it like a modern Zelda game in 3D. It'd be so cool.
Zelda
So
2?
make a
Yeah.
new game.
So-
I don't
wait,
want
wait,
to
I
make a new
I
game.
want to
That's
play
what-
another
Yeah,
2D
so
game.
that's just, at that point, you just make a new game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. Instead of just playing the same game with better graphics, come on.
Okay.
Change it.
So you want a 3D Zelda game that has like the down thrust and it has
and
like,
the music and the building up of experience points and the visiting
that would be creepy as hell if you walk into some 3D room and there's a man with a beard standing there by himself and he's the only thing in the room and he's like, I'm error.
That would be
I was
so
going to
cool.
say the I'm error thing too.
Yeah, that would
Or
be
I know
really
nothing.
freaky.
Yeah. Wait, so you're a Zelda 2 supporter versus the Legion of haters of Zelda 2?
Yeah,
has
I think
kinda
it's,
had
I
over
mean,
the,
look,
over the years?
in the series, it was the reason why it pissed people off is because it was not more of the same,
Yeah.
right? Like that's an example of Nintendo saying, "Hey, we're not sure which direction we want to go with the series. Let's try something new." And they made it more of an RPG and a side scroller at the same time, and you can jump and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really cool. Now, when you go back and you play these games, it's even better because you actually have some variety and a different game to play. But if you go back in time and you were waiting for a game just like Zelda 1 that came out, I can imagine you'd be like, "Hey, come on,
Yeah.
I have Final Fantasy for this."